Hey there, superstars. It is Vanessa here again, your speaker, trainer, and coach from Live, Love, Give. And today I am bringing you a message all around the positive side of negative emotions. And I really want to unpack this one, and I really want it to be kind of like just valuable, obviously, is my ideal, hopefully. But ultimately, I want particularly those of you who judge yourself for particularly the emotion of anger. I really want to go into this one. This is going to be for you. But really, this message is going to be around all the so-called negative emotions and how we kind of judge ourselves for them. But I want to flip it, and I want to bring the positive side to having our negative emotions, because at the end of the day, whatever we judge, we end up suppressing, and whatever we suppress on one side of the equation ends up simultaneously suppressing the other side. Meaning that when we judge ourselves for having some sort of negative emotion, be it anger or sadness or fear or shame or guilt or regret or whatever it is, we end up simultaneously suppressing the positive side of emotion. So we don't get to go the heights of bliss and joy and gratitude and all those beautiful loving emotions when we suppress the other side. So really what I want us to kind of think about, and I want us to break the judgment on the self, and I want us to know that every single emotion that we experience throughout our lifetime is there for a reason. It doesn't just happen for no particular reason, and we shouldn't just be all one way in our lives. And that's the mentality that we can get stuck in, and it ends up costing us big time in terms of our fulfillment and our growth, because anytime we get some sort of negative emotion like that anger or that sadness or that guilt or that shame or that fear or that anxiety or whatever it is, we end up thinking, oh my God, there is something wrong with me. I can't control myself. What do I have to seek externally from me so that I can control this and, negate this and never have to experience this? And when we do that, what we're really doing is we are suppressing the symptoms that are alerting us to the changes that need to take place. Because at the end of the day, all negative emotions are simply the distance between what your ideal is and where you currently are. So if we don't get that feedback, if we don't get that, that whatever that negative emotion is, we don't know when we're off path. We don't know that we need to shift and change something. We're kind of cutting ourselves off from that valuable feedback that is there for a reason. And that is why, when people have depression and they go see a doctor, or they have some sort of health, problem, and they go see a doctor and they try and negate and kind of like get rid of that emotional experience, if they're not treating the actual cause and instead they're just treating the symptom, they end up blocking themselves from their own personal growth and development and fulfillment. And so one of the things, like the beauty of our negative emotions, is really that they are shifting us to bring attention to those negative emotions, to our problems that are causing those negative problems, and directing our energy and our awareness to what's not working so that we can actually make some shifts and changes. And, a lot of people think of anger as a really bad emotion that they should never experience. And it kind of works differently for men and women. So generally, for men, anger is like the most acceptable emotion, right? So they might not want to go to, say, sadness or some sort of more vulnerable emotions. And so they go directly to anger, and then we judge men for being angry. And on the flip side, women tend to go for the more vulnerable emotions and judge themselves for having that anger. So they might go more so to that sadness or expressing of that fear. But at the end of the day, just to narrow down on anger is such a powerful emotion. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the point of anger is to help you to actually regain your power. It's there to empower you in a place where you've been disempowered. And that is where that anger comes from. And, we look at depression, and actually a new kind of way that I've been looking at depression based on a course that I recently went to, and I love thinking about it this way, is that anger actually comes from depression actually comes from a shutdown response of anger. It's actually not sadness. It's actually repressed anger. And I don't think it's the only way that depression comes out, but I do think it's a big way that depression ends up showing up in our lives. It's really just because we've gotten to a point where we are shutting down the negative emotions, and we end up in a state of apathy. We end up in a state of depression and just like we can't even feel it anymore. And really what it is that we need to express our anger so that we can regain our power. So I hope that me talking into this is giving you just a different perspective on so-called negative emotions, and knowing that any emotion across the full spectrum of human emotion, whether we deem it negative or positive, is here to serve us. It's either here to alert us that we're on the wrong path, this is not working out for us, and we need to bring our awareness to the full situation without trying to suppress it, without trying to numb it. We actually need to feel it. It's there for a reason. And on the flip side, when we're getting those positive emotions that we love, they're there to alert us that we're on the right path, we're doing the right things, like keep going, it's encouraging. So we need to be more aware of our emotions and really grateful for every single one of them, whether they are negative or positive. And I really want you guys to remember about anger. Whenever you get angry, do not suppress it. I mean, I'm not saying that we go out there and we just go like raging all over the place and be completely unemotionally intelligent. But what I am saying is, if you feel anger, find an intelligent way of expressing that anger, and know that the point of it is to empower you in an area where you have been disempowered, and you need to step into that energy. So I really, really hope that this is resonating with you guys. It's got you thinking a bit differently about those negative emotions, and to, instead of deem them positive or negative, actually find that all negative emotions have that positive. And the positive is that alert to your awareness where it needs to be drawn to, and definitely build a different relationship with anger. There are many healthy ways of expression of anger, and they do not include numbing that emotion down. We don't want to numb anything. We want to feel through it. We want to experience it, and we want to be alerted to why it's actually here, because it's here for a reason. It's here for a reason and a purpose. It's not here to ruin your life. It's actually here to enhance your life by alerting you to where the problems are and what needs to shift and change. And you have to be the one to be courageous enough to take that on board and empower yourself, instead of going and chasing some form of whatever it is to numb it, some form of distraction, medication, whatever it is. You've got it for a reason. Feel through it. Learn from it, grow from it, and be alerted to the shifts and changes that absolutely need to happen. All right, so I hope this has supported you, and I want to make sure that you guys are all coming and you're joining me live for the 3rd masterclass, all on the 8 levels of self-love and how to empower yourself in every single one of them. We're going to be diving deep into a framework that I've been working on developing, which I have never shared with anybody just yet, and it is encompassing so many amazing frameworks from incredible sources, which allow us to work out which parts of the body. There's different energy centers in our body, scientifically proven. They all relate to different organs, to different glands, to different neural networks, and they're different energy centers that also relate to different emotional blockages that we have. And if we don't empower empower ourselves in all 8 areas and all of those 8 different levels, then we ultimately get stuck. We don't enter fulfillment. We disempower ourselves. We don't reach our highest potential. And so I want to give you guys the framework of the 8 different levels of self-love, all those different energy centers, and also how you can really go about balancing each of those areas and empowering yourself, so that you can ultimately be free to live in your passion and your purpose and from inspiration, and actually enter a state of real personal transformation and growth and ability to contribute at your highest levels, which ultimately leads to fulfillment. So I definitely want to check in with you guys, and if you are not currently part of the masterclasses for whatever reason, I don't know, you haven't heard about them, you want to join right now, because tomorrow is our very 3rd live training, and I can't wait to see you there. You'll get all the details and the previous masterclasses instantly, so I can't wait to see you there. All right, so I have got Katrina, awesome, and Sam, and Elias, and Gregory, and hola to you, Elias, and Sam, looking so beautiful. I love tapping on your genius. Thank you so much, Sam. Always appreciate you, my friend. And Chris, awesome. And Sam, no, my internet cut out before. And Chris, hello to you, my friend. And Monique and Wendy. I love that you're here. I don't know what you're asking how, but I hope that I answered that question. Let me know if I didn't. And Terry, wise words yet again, Vanessa. You have certainly brightened up an already sunny day in Spain. I love hearing that, Terry. Thank you so much for showing up again. I so appreciate you, my friend. And Sam, I'm loving that you're loving today's topic and you're finding that great. And Chris, so true. Your body will heal itself. Yeah, but you know, there's so much intertwined. Like, we think that our body is separate to our emotional state of being. And what I want to introduce you guys to is a really amazing framework that allows you to see how it's all interconnected. You know, oftentimes I get coaching clients and they come to me thinking they have a million different problems and they just do not know where to start. And what I help them to identify and see is that everything is interconnected. And if we can get the right process and the right system in place, we can kind of knock it out like a domino effect. And it's not so big and grand and so separate and so huge and so whatever as we can initially think that it is. And absolutely, the body and mind connection is super powerful in knowing how everything is interconnected so that you can absolutely heal yourself really intelligently. So I love that, Chris. And Wendy, oh, how I love to be inspired by your lovely self. Oh, you are so kind. Always learning new ways of approaching my growth. Lovely. Awesome, Wendy. I'm so grateful for you, my friend. And you're touching my heart with such beautiful words. And I love, love, love having you here as always. And Matthew's here, and Sally, this is exactly what I need to hear right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, Sally, that's touching my heart. I love, love, love that it is hitting you as you require it. And I hope that you're part of the masterclasses, because you will get so much in tomorrow's live training. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to dive deep with you guys. Oh my God, I've been working on it all day today. And Yossi is here. Awesome. And Chris, express anger so you can move on. Exactly. I don't know the exact details. I should have looked this up. But apparently it only takes a maximum of 8 minutes for us to feel through any negative emotion. Like, no matter how bad it is, if we allow ourselves to fully feel it, to fully move through it, it shouldn't take any longer than 8 minutes to get to the other side. And it's why I'm always saying, when you can weather the storm, you get to enjoy the rainbow. So, you know, don't get stuck thinking that negative emotions are going to last a lifetime. If you don't judge yourself, you won't suppress it, and you won't get stuck in that cycle of repetition of the same old negative emotions where you feel out of control. And if you actually own that you are all things, and that every single emotion on the full spectrum of emotion is here for a reason and a purpose that serves you, you will stop judging yourself. You'll start to find really emotionally intelligent ways of feeling through all of those emotions for yourself. You won't suppress it. You'll move through it. You'll be beyond it within 8 minutes, you know? And like I said, you'll get to enjoy the rainbow after you weather the storm. I love that, Chris. And Carolina's here, and Elias, and T2. T2, yes, that's right. And Pankaj, hello to you. And Tanya's in the house, and Stefan and Victoria. What are the healthy ways to handle anger? I love it. There's so many, Victoria. One of the ways that I learnt about, kind of some different techniques in terms of feeling through the anger was actually with the beautiful Christine Hassler, a wonderful, wonderful woman. And she has a book called Expectation Hangover. And one of the ways in that book, she kind of teaches and guides you to really feel through and express the anger is kind of like having a tantrum. And the analogy that she uses is, think of children, right? Like when they get angry, they might throw like a full-on temper tantrum in the middle of the shopping center, right? And they full-on go for it, but then they're over it. Next minute they're like laughing and like eating their ice cream, And so we kind of lose that because we start judging ourselves as adults and we start feeling like, oh, we can't express that. That's not acceptable, right? And so we end up holding it all in, and that's why we get trapped in those negative emotions. So one form of expressing that anger is to actually give yourself some space to actually have a bit of a temper tantrum and become a bit of a child again, in the privacy of your own home, maybe, I don't know, or, go hit a boxing bag, whatever it is. Remember that every emotion is actually energy in your body that needs to be fully expressed. Anger is very emotionally charged. So you can, start punching something, punch a pillow, do something, scream, shout, whatever you've got to do, whatever feels uncomfortable and that you judge yourself for, I'd probably get you to do it. There's so many different ways that you can be doing that. But also what I like to do is, couple the physical with the intellectual as well. So you might want to actually start writing it out, and it actually engages the emotional part of the brain so that you can actually see, what are you angry about? Listen to yourself. It's coming from somewhere. Something needs to be addressed. And that's why the release letter technique always starts with anger, because that's the negative emotion with the most charge. And when we fully feel through it, we get to move down the spectrum of emotion. So I would really encourage you to check out the release letter as well. I have linked it in a couple of videos. If you want me to link it again, I definitely will. So let me know if you'd like me to link up the release letter if you haven't tried that before. But yeah, totally different ways. And you might even want to check out the Expectation Hangover by Christine Hassler for some techniques in that book as well. So thanks for the question, Victoria, and Coralie's here, and Carla and Wendy. I'm an Aries, so if I'm loyal and a person uses my kindness to really hurt myself, I was a single mum of 2 girls, now 19 to 22 years old. They were my inspiration to grow into a lady that showed love. Anger was explained if I felt it and why that situation made me angry. 2 beautiful girls functioning so well. Yes, I am so proud, Mum. I love hearing that, Wendy, and that's so, so beautiful that you have opened yourself up to take your beautiful daughters on that journey and show them that, it's okay to feel negative emotions. And also, talking it out and actually going, this is why I feel the way that I feel, having that level of emotional intelligence and sharing that with them. What a beautiful soul you are. Beautiful Wendy, thanks so much for sharing. And Sam, can't wait for the Energy Centers training. I can't wait to see you tomorrow and share that with you. And Wendy, only thing stopping me with masterclass is, will I be able to join as I work during the day? Thanks. Awesome, Wendy. Thank you so much for letting me know. So what happens is, so I don't know exactly where you are in the world, Wendy. Let me know. I can't remember. But all of our masterclasses are all recorded. You get access to them in your very own membership site, where you have a library of all the masterclasses. Everything is accessible and you have full access to it for as long as you are a part of our team. So you can go through it at any time that you wish, and you get access to the recordings within 2 hours, usually shorter than that, within 2 hours of the live training. So if you can ever not make it, and it happens all the time because we're all around the globe, we're all in different time zones, if you ever can't make it, don't you stress, because you get access to it, the recording, within 2 hours. So I hope that answers your question, Wendy, and I hope that you'll join, because I'd love to share those amazing deep dive trainings with you. I know it will help you to take your growth to the next level, and you might want to share it with your beautiful daughters as well. So I love it, Wendy. And Melissa from Idaho, I love it, and I love that you love watching me. I love having you here. And Phil's here, awesome. And Chris, I had depression for 7 years and I worked through it. Awesome, Chris. I love hearing that. I also experienced depression in my life. I like to call it situational depression, and that's why personally, I'm not a big believer in numbing the pain through medication, because it's there for a reason. We need to address it. And that's why I call what I experienced personally situational depression, because it was there because of the situation I was in that needed to be worked through, addressed, broken through, instead of numbing myself, which, I was given medication, and I took it, I think, for like a week or so, and I just felt completely numb. I felt oblivious. I felt like I didn't care anymore to even, focus on what the problem was, and that scared the crap out of me. So I stopped taking medication, and I actually felt the emotion, and I worked out, like, why do I feel this way? What do I need to change? Like I said before, all the negative emotions are the distance between your ideal, what you really want, and where your reality currently is. So think about it that way, and definitely, and I love that you've broken through your depression, Chris. You're a superstar. Love hearing that. And Adrian, good morning, Angel. Keep on sparkling. Good morning to you, or good evening in my time zone, but I love having you here, Adrian. Thank you. And Euless is here, and Adrian, 8 minutes. Heck, that's short. Exactly. So if it's taking you longer than 8 minutes, you don't have a system of feeling through the emotion, and generally that's because you're judging yourself for it. So remember, whatever you judge, you end up suppressing, and it ends up recycling, and you keep staying stuck in it, and it's kind of like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It's going to explode at some point, so you feel totally out of control. So if you own your emotional states, you feel it, you experience it, you have processes to fully feel through it. The release letter technique is just one simple free tool for you guys to dive into that if you haven't already. But yes, there's so many different techniques for feeling through the emotion, remembering that it's energy in the body that needs an outlet instead of being stuck and repressed. So I love that. And I'm going to be talking tomorrow about how different energies and different emotions get stuck in our energy centers that completely throw us out of balance and prevent us from stepping into our inspiration. So definitely, I can't wait to share that masterclass with you guys. And Ella Varison and Kapsu and Wendy, yes, you want the release letter? Awesome. I will drop that in the comments for you after the video. And Yvonne's here, and Victoria and Euless, thank you. Thanks for the love and light. Always, Euless, thank you so much for showing me some back. I love that. And Tanya, please put the link to the release letter. That would be fab. Awesome. I certainly will. And Victoria, my husband deals with a lot of anger because of frustrations that come from being paraplegic. When he expresses his anger, he does act like a child, and I'm triggered by that. I'm working towards developing emotional intelligence. I love that, Victoria, and my heart is with you and your amazing husband. Definitely, there's a reason for that anger, and one of the greatest gifts that we can give to anybody that we love is to not judge them for their negative emotion, because they're judging themselves much more harshly than we ever could. And when we judge them, all we're doing is saying to them, yeah, you should be judging yourself for that emotion. And we keep them stuck and limited in that negative cycle, that feels out of control. I remember, like the beach ball, trying to hold it down, just judging ourselves instead of feeling through it, knowing it's here for a reason. What can I shift and change? It's here to empower me out of this state so I don't have to stay trapped in this cycle. So I so love you sharing that, beautiful Victoria. You're such a beautiful soul. And I love that you're working towards developing your emotional intelligence. And I absolutely love having you in the masterclasses. And I so can't wait to see you tomorrow, and know that tomorrow's amazing masterclass is absolutely going to support you and your amazing husband. Thanks, Victoria. And Katrina, yes, the book is called Expectation Hangover by Christine Hassler. So definitely want to pick that one up. She is a beautiful soul and a really actionable book. And definitely, yes, some really great little tools in there for dealing with anger. And yes, you definitely want to follow her as well. So she's great. And Manoj, how we get the positive side of a negative emotion, because that's a situation where most times we don't understand what to do. So how could we tackle this? Thanks. I love your question, Manoj. Yes, so the first step is always to stop judging the negative emotion and ask ourselves, what am I feeling? Identify what that emotional state is. Why am I feeling this? What has triggered me? How is my current reality different to my ideal? Because that's the negative emotion is the distance between our current reality and our ideal in this area. And so when we can pinpoint that is when we can start to identify, how can I close the gap between where I am and where I want to get to, which this negative emotion has alerted me to. So the negative emotion is alerting you to the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And when you can identify those 2 points on the map, you can start to work out a strategy for closing the gap so that you can get through and move through that negative emotion. But remember, those negative emotions are not negative. They're here to empower you and wake you up to make some shifts and changes. So remember that, and I hope that me just sharing that quickly for you, Manoj, is of help. And Marcine, hello to you, and Katrina, and yep, I think I answered that question for you. And Yvonne, that medication can be very dangerous. Highest side effect is suicide. Yep, they tried to force me on it when I had a work cover accident and lost my baby. Oh. I had PTS and grief. Medication doesn't fix it. Thank you for sharing that too. Yvonne, my heart is so with you, beautiful. That's so courageous, and I so appreciate your vulnerability and your authenticity and sharing that with this community. You're such a beautiful soul. And yes, definitely. That's, I can only speak from my own experience, but I absolutely agree with you on that. And, I'm not a doctor, so I don't like telling people to get off their medication, but at the end of the day, you got to think about this stuff. And whatever area of life we don't empower ourselves in, we end up being overpowered by another source. And health is one of those key areas. We're not educating ourselves on our health and the options available to us. We go to a doctor and we just go, oh, they told us to be on this medication, so I'm going to be, because we're not empowered in that area, and we're handballing the responsibility and the power to some external source. But it's your body and it's your life, so you might as well educate yourself on this stuff and see what your options are as well. I love that, Yvonne. You're so beautiful. And Melissa, it's 1:15 a.m. Oh my gosh. I should be in bed. I can't. You have so much good information. I love hearing that, Melissa. My heart is touched by you being up so late listening to this message. I really hope that it's adding enough value to you, and definitely not costing you too much sleep. Thank you, Melissa. And Wendy, last word, Madonna, express yourself. I love it. Exactly. And Victoria, please link the book you recommend. I will definitely do that for you. And yes, I handle it all wrong. But Victoria, the first step to growth is always self-awareness. So back yourself a little bit more, because if you weren't on this journey of growth and transformation, you wouldn't even recognize that you weren't kind of handling it all that well. So hats off to you, Victoria, for your self-awareness and your dedication to your growth, beautiful soul. And your Baze is here. And Yvonne, my brother-in-law committed suicide after he was out on them. Heart is still with you, my beautiful Yvonne. That is so, so sad. And absolutely, I feel like you are a voice for people to alert them to the different options around, feeling through and moving through states of depression that doesn't just have to end in medication. So much love to you, and much love to you, Ulas and Victoria. You are so welcome, beautiful. All right, guys, I am signing off. I am, as always, sending you all of my love, light, blessings, gratitude, energy, enthusiasm, everything extraordinary coming to you to wherever you are in the world today. I really hope that today's message has supported you and empowered you. And I definitely want you guys to be a part of the masterclasses. Don't miss out, because now is the perfect time to join, because I'm doing the live class tomorrow and I cannot wait to deliver the 8 levels of self-love and how to empower yourself in all. And last, little Kuno's just joined. Hope you catch the recording, my friend. And Yvonne, hence my strong opinion. Hope it was okay to share. Abso-friggin-lutely, Yvonne. This place is about, co-creating, meaningful conversation that transforms lives. So I'm always in appreciation of you guys sharing your perspective. Oh, I've got this big tickle in my throat. Excuse me. Sharing your perspective, it's gonna, alert people, expand perspective, open up our minds. So always, Yvonne, share your experience here. It is so appreciated. And Melissa, good night to you and much love. And you're so welcome, Minaj. And Jared and Casey, I hope you guys catch the recording and get a ton of value from today's message. I'm signing off. I'm sending you all of my love, and I cannot wait to see you guys tomorrow.